What's up, Toasties? Movie Toaster Adam here. I just sat down with film editor Nick Pezzillo. He currently has a film in theaters right now called Butcher's Crossing, starring Nicolas Cage. And in November, he has another movie that he also not only edited but co-produced, starring Angus Cloud, called Your Lucky Day. I wanted to pick his brain about editing and a few things about each film, but I didn't want to spoil anything for y'all. Both films are very good. I'm going to give reviews separately on all our social media, so please check out those videos. But with no further delay, please enjoy this interview with Nick. Thank you.
It's the Movie Toasty Show.
Nice to meet you, Nick. How's it going?
It's going well. Very nice to meet you as well. Happy
Nice.
to chat with you.
Heck yeah, same here. I just watched both the films over the weekend. Really enjoyed them. And I was looking up your IMDb credits to try to see what you've done. And it looks like you got a lot of experience in like music videos and short films. So I was wondering how you got these features, if they were offered to you, if you had a pitch to them, or
I had to
get
pay them all off with future children. No, I was so Your Lucky Day was a good friend of mine that we went to film school together back in 2000, and so that movie we ended up doing a short film in 2010, and so that was a relationship that we're basically like brothers in arms, and that we've stayed, we've worked together for many years, and Butcher's Crossing, that came to me after they shot. So it was
wow.
Gabe Polsky, the director. He found me through a mutual friend, and I had just actually finished like early edits of Your Lucky Day, and he was looking for an editor to cut his Nicolas Cage Western. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
How do you say no to that?
Yeah, I mean, you can't. And
Yeah.
I couldn't, at least. And so it was it was awesome. It was, it was different because all of a sudden I'm working with somebody I don't know, and we had to, we kind of had to get through a little warming period with each other to build the trust that Dan and I already have had for years.
True.
And it's definitely a different ways that I came to both of these films, but happy to have been able to work with both Gabe and Dan, and make the films happen.
And I know you said that you did the short film for Your Lucky Day back in a while ago, and I noticed that you're co-producer on this. Were you helping developing the story along the way, and like the past 10 years, have you been working on this, or is it just something he called you up and said, hey, you want to jump on board and help me produce this, or how that all came through?
So here's the thing. I was just ready and willing to do anything it took to help Dan make this movie. It was just because it was like, it's his first feature. It's my first, I'd done a couple other longer things, but long time ago, but it was also, I was thinking it's my first movie too. And I wanted it to be as good of a showing as we could make it, because I believe in him and I believed in the movie. And so, I helped with art department. It was just whatever was needed, I was there to help facilitate, and to make it, because it's a very small movie, and it took a lot of caring people to make it happen, and it wouldn't have happened if everybody didn't care, as much as they did about it. Yeah.
Makes sense. And when you were on set, since it sounds like you were probably on set most of the time, were you looking at different takes that he was doing in your head? Or are you like, oh, this is going to cut together, that's going to cut together? Or are you just kind of in the zone of, let's just make this the best it can look today, and I'll worry about that stuff later on in the edit?
Yeah. So there was, I was back and forth. So there were, I would take, some of the dailies and be able to try to cut some stuff together. We cut a little reel together of some scene. I tried cutting some scenes together just to show Dan how things were moving, and I think there was one or two instances where we were able to get a little bit more coverage because we saw an edit that we were going to need a couple, some things, but it was really just like you said, because it because it was so fast moving, 15-day shoot. It was just it was just triage wherever I needed to be. at any given moment, I was, I would try to be there to fill the need. But when I was able to watch some of this stuff on set, no, man, I was just excited to see it. I mean, and Dan was killing it.
Hmm.
Dan knew what he wanted, and it's like, even though he was pressed for time, he was able to, because he's such a visual director, and like he has a storyboard basically in his head, he was able to achieve a lot in a very little, with a
Nice.
very,
And
with little.
honestly, I'm shocked that you said it was such a small crew in like only 15 days, because you guys packed a lot in there, and it looked like it could have been his like 10th film. Like it looked like you guys were seasoned professionals doing this. Like you guys really knocked it out of the park with this one.
I appreciate that. I mean, no, this is the first time we ever saw a camera, and ever, and no, I mean, we've got a lot, we've got a long time working. I mean, Dan's been working in advertising and music videos for a long time, and has learned a lot in that space, and has
Hmm.
done a couple other short films. And it's like, it's not just, obviously it's not just, Dan by himself, Justin Henning the DP, Matt Hutchinson doing the score. Like, it's all the, it's like, all the people that came in to add their touch, just,
Definitely.
was just awesome. Yeah.
Now, what was it like going from editing that over to Butcher's Crossing, like being a slightly larger film, like with the like big star like Nick Cage? Was it more pressure, or was it just kind of like another day in the edit bay, normal stuff?
I think at first it was definitely, I mean, it's Nick Cage. It was like, oh gosh, I gotta, learn how to edit again. But I think, but then after, once you're playing with the materials for a couple days, it's really just about the movie and the scenes, and yeah, I got, you get over the starstruck of it all, and
Hmm.
you're just paying attention to how the characters are coming across, and what they're doing in the film. Uh, the Nick, it's like, Nick Cage is his own entity, right? And it's like, I've
True.
seen, so many Nick Cage movies, and I want, it was like, there was like a part of me that's like, what Nick Cage am I trying to craft for this film, right? And because,
Hmm.
in editorial, you can lean certain way, different ways. You have the ability to adjust performances, not like crazy, like, but you can
But you're
you
getting
can
all the takes. You
mold
can
it.
sculpt a whole new like
Yeah,
experience than the
yeah.
director even imagined.
What you don't show is as important as what you do. And so it's like, and just like trying to hone in on what his character really was, and what he was trying to lay down as on set, was like, just important to me, to, and to really just lean into how he was, what he really wanted the heart of the character to be, and as grounded as I think he portrayed it.
Mm. And one thing that I was wondering when I was watching, like when they were on the hunt, as like you're seeing him get progressively madder and madder, well, or kind of going insane, like having to get all the buffalo, all the different shots of like him doing the same things every day. I know they were different shots, but were they filmed all at once, or were they filmed like here's scene 37, here's scene 42? I'm sorry, I messing up in my head here, but it just like the repetitiveness and like the nature of what you were doing, like showing that montage of him kind of just getting in the zone and like just focusing. Was that all like similar takes, or was it all different scene numbers, or how do you look at cutting a montage together like that? I guess. Sorry.
So this film, no, no, no. I mean, it was exactly scene 37 and 42. So no, no. So the film was shot, all that was shot in 18 days,
Wow.
surprisingly, as well. Um, I think we're just trying to make movies as fast as possible these days,
Mm,
and so the uh, and so it's like, no, they were being as efficient as they could be. I mean, I
makes
don't
sense.
know. I don't exactly know, because once I've got the material organized, and it's like, it's not. I
Mm,
mean, I think for some of those montages, I was definitely pulling from all over the place to be able to
nice.
build something that felt like a wealth of time. Because I think one of the big characters in this movie is time, and
Hmm.
it's one of the more difficult characters that we had to construct. because of materials. And
Yeah,
so and so it's just like, because they're supposed to, they're out for about a year almost, right? So it's like,
true.
and so it's just like a matter of really letting that play, letting it seep, trying to facilitate that character and the character of nature into the film as well. Was a yeah was definitely one of the more uphill battles that we had on the film, for
Hmm.
storytelling in the film.
Now, what was your most challenging scene to edit in both the films? Because I mean, they're both very specific. I imagine there's like some moments where it's like, oh, I thought this would cut together a little easier, but it was a little more difficult. Anything like that?
Like I think in Butcher, we spent a lot of time. I mean, we spent a lot of time in the beginning. We spent a lot of time in the end. I mean, and in the, I mean, we spent a lot of time ever. It's like we spent a lot
Fair
of time.
enough.
It's like so. I mean, there's not one scene in that film that really. I mean, there's a couple scenes that were like, I don't want to, give anything away, but like that were
Sure.
just like we had to like figure out how to make it work.
Hmm.
Um, and where we had certain pieces and we had certain pieces that weren't helping, and we but the bottom line is that, again, when somebody watches it, is the idea conveyed? Do they get it? Is
Fair
there
enough.
suspense in it, or are they like not sure what's going on? So it's just a matter of like, there were some scenes that we really had to really hone in on that. Same thing with Your Lucky Day. Like there's a couple scenes that we kept going back to, just weren't getting right yet, and
Hmm.
we'd get, and it's like, until we finally were like, and it's like it almost took to the end of the editorial process to like, for a scene when the if you watch the film, there's like a scene where some new characters come into the store, unannounced,
Hmm.
unannounced, and it kind of like throws everybody out else for the loop of like, oh no. And that scene where they come into the store was always like, there was always just things that we had to work out in it, and because that scene specifically was like shot in an hour.
Wow,
Um and and so it's
that's
like,
insane.
and so we had, it's really it's like the when you have minimal pieces and it's like something's just not working, you really have to just find the magic somehow. And
Hmm.
that doesn't, and that's just doesn't always rely on editorial. It relies on music, it relies on sound design, it relies, there's so many things
Yeah,
that can come into play that can help alleviate some of the issues that are coming up in editorial. It's yeah.
fair
So
enough.
yeah.
Was there what were you able to kind of cultivate the most from like working with your experience in music videos and commercials? Like anything that you were able to like just kind of throw into this, or did you discover anything new working on the features, or is it all kind of one and the same?
It's different because in a commercial, I mean, you have to, it's more about the product and the amount of time that it's in, because you're
Fair.
constrained to 30 seconds. No matter how
Hmm.
good something is, it has to fit within this world of a puzzle that's in 30 seconds or 15 seconds. And even now it's like 6 seconds, so you have like, it's becoming less and less. Advertising is kind of becoming like this thing of like, uh almost
Quicker
shotgun
the
approach.
better.
Sometimes, yeah, quicker the better, because there's so many ways people are seeing it, and different places where you can show it. And so but in the same token, it's like, it's about efficiency, I think.
Hmm.
And so, and in filmmaking, it's about experience.
True.
It's like, what's the audience's experience watching it? And that could be a 3.5 hour epic, or a half, or an hour and a half,
Yeah.
film. It's like, and you could come out of both of those with a positive experience, and
Hmm.
or you can come out of both of those with like, huh, like what was why did I just do that to myself? It's like,
Makes
it's a
sense.
it's a very interesting thing, but but the one thing that it is that's not in advertising is it's a two-way conversation. People choose to watch the movie that you've
Hmm.
chosen to hope, to work on and to put your time into. It's like in advertising, you're choosing to spend time on something that somebody doesn't necessarily, want to see. It's like, or
True.
it's like it's being targeted at them. It's more of a one-way conversation.
Now, do you tend to get more notes from the studio side or the directors, or is it kind of like how do you choose which notes to take from certain people? Is there like a give and take that you have, or do you have like a gut instinct that you want to stick
All
with?
all notes are kind of helpful because they're either showing you something specific or they're telling you something abstract. And it's like, obviously knowing who the note is coming from is important, because it's like, what's the meaning behind it? What's the reasoning behind it? Are we doing a note to because of something that's completely unrelated to the film, that's
Hmm,
just in the world, public opinion? Or are we doing something that's because of the film? Are we doing something that's like that is that people aren't understanding something? It's there's something we need to fix.
definitely.
Yeah, but I think all notes are, it's like as hard as they are to sometimes read, they there's something that you can sometimes find a kernel of good in them, that can
Hmm,
only help the film get better.
true. Everyone wants the best possible outcome, I guess. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. You want to think that, and that's, I mean, it's like I may be naive and believe that a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I thank you very much. It was a thrill watching these two very different films, and each like I feel like it's a great vibe that you're getting out there, and the editing is kind of a character in and of its own, and I really appreciate the work that you did here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, I really
Yeah,
appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy them. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. This is
Look forward
awesome.
to seeing what you do next.
Me too. Me too.
Hopefully, it's not as long a wait with all these strikes. Hopefully, you get something cooking.
Yeah, I think I've got
Yeah.
a documentary that I'm going to be jumping onto next. But
Nice.
but no, I mean, I would love to do some more narrative filmmaking, and when the time is right.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time. I wish you the best of luck with the rest of the interviews.
Thank you so much. It's really nice to meet you.
It's the movie toast the show.